In the extremely important 2026 NFL Draft, there is one star-studded player that the Commanders cannot afford to miss. Stick around, and I'll let you know exactly who this player is. In the year 2025, the Commanders had a dreadful year with a 5-12 record, struggling on both offense and defense. We need help on both sides of the ball, and it's easy to see. Now, with needing that much help, you have to ask yourself, who is the best player to take? And this is a pretty good draft, in my opinion, both offensively and defensively. But there is one player that stands out above the rest that immediately can make an impact. Who is that player? That player is Caleb Downs. I believe Caleb Downs is a must-draft player at number 7 if we have the opportunity. So, who is Caleb Downs? Caleb Downs is the starting free safety this past year for the Ohio State Buckeyes, who was a 3-year college football starter, including starting for the Alabama Crimson Tide as a true freshman under Nick Saban, who recorded 107 tackles and 2 interceptions. Yes, he started under Nick Saban as a true freshman. Now, that does not happen a lot. Now, at these other schools, it might happen here and there with coaches that, let the young guys play. But when it comes to an old school guy with Nick Saban, you have to prove a lot, especially at a prestigious school playing in the SEC. So that just goes to show this guy's more than just raw talent. Even coming out of high school, he had to show the cerebral skills along with the physical skills to start on the Nick Saban defense. And after Nick Saban decided to retire, that's when he decided to transfer out. And he says on the first day in the transfer portal, he got over 100 phone calls from recruiters. Pretty crazy, and shows just the amazing year he had as a freshman in the SEC under Alabama. Now let's talk a little bit about his skill set. He's a very rangy safety that has great speed. He hasn't run the 40 yet, but I'm guessing he's going to run high 4.3s, like a 4.38, 4.39 to low 4.4s to like a 4.42 probably, something like that, because he is very rangy. He covers the whole field. He's able to cover so much, whether it's even in man coverage where, a lot of safety struggles in, because most safeties, if they are a cover safety, specialize in zone, which he's great at. His zone is better than his man, but his man is still pretty good for a safety. He's also very, very aggressive. He loves to go for the big hit, and he's a great tackler. But one thing that really stands out about him that I like a ton, that most safeties, and not even a lot of linebackers do very well, they attack that lead blocker. And not even just the fullback. I've seen plays where a guard or a tackle will pull up the gap, and he comes up and he meets that tackle and he disrupts the play. Even if he does not make the tackle, he made the play because he threw off the timing and allowed his other players to come and rally and make the play. Very impressive for a safety. So this guy has both the cover skills and the tackling skills to make his transition to the NFL. Another thing I really want to point out is Todd McShay, one of the longtime ESPN analysts that everybody knows. He made the huge comparison of comparing Caleb Downs to both Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. Now, if you are like me and you grew up on Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu, then you know what kind of players those are. Those are game-changing guys that you have to know where they are at any time on the field, at any play, because wherever they are, they're making an impact. Whether they're touching the ball, making the tackle, they're making an impact. They're making the quarterback look the other way and cut the field in half. Now that is huge praise and a huge comparison from Todd McShay. But that also didn't just come from Todd McShay. It also came from Heisman Trophy winner, most likely first overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. He praised Caleb Downs for his skills and also said, this is what it was probably like for Tom Brady when he was going against Ed Reed. That says a lot. That says to me that there is a lot of preparation that goes into playing Caleb Downs. Now, a point I want to go into of why it's so important that we get Caleb Downs is to show the impact of a great safety. And I want to start with who I believe is the best safety in the NFL, Kyle Hamilton. Now, Kyle Hamilton affects the game in numerous ways. Number one, he's an amazing blitzer. Even if he's not getting to the quarterback, he's causing the pressure, which helps that secondary out and also helps the other rushers out in getting sacks. He's great at avoiding blocks or even taking on the blocks in order to get to the quarterback. And that makes a real issue for the offense. He's also able to play in that box and causes so much disruption in the run game because he just has a nose for the ball. And if you can stop the run game by putting an extra defender in there like the Ravens do, it makes a huge difference for that defense. When Kyle Hamilton is in versus when he's out, you can tell. And the offensive coordinator can tell as well because they take advantage of the Ravens defense so much more. Another big thing that Kyle Hamilton does is he covers the tight ends in man coverage. And in this day in the NFL, we know tight end is one of the biggest ways they try to take advantage of the defense with the mismatches because either the tight end is too fast for the linebacker or too big for the safety. But when you have a great combination like Kyle Hamilton or Caleb Downs, you have that size and speed combination in order to defend them because you have guys like Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts. We saw what happens when he gets unlocked and the difference that he makes. And the reason why you need a great safety defender to play man on him. Caleb Downs also reminds me of Budda Baker with his ranginess. Now, Budda Baker is a little bit smaller, but man, he can go all around the field and make so many plays. And he reminds me of the Troy Polamalu, where he might be in one spot and you might think you have the open path, but he's able to cut that field in half so quickly and make a play. So the quarterback has to second guess, which helps out the pass rush and your other defenders. That is what a great safety can do. That is what Caleb Downs can bring to this defense. And the last comparison I want to make of what he could be and the impact the safety makes is Derwin James. Derwin James plays a ton at that line of scrimmage because he's so physical and has great pursuit ability like Caleb Downs. Derwin James is able to make great impact against that run and stuff a lot of plays at the line of scrimmage and chase that quarterback down, which disrupts the offense so much and changes that game plan. There's an extra guy in the box and you can't block him because he's so quick and so powerful. That's what Derwin James and these great safeties can do. I really think if we draft Caleb Downs and we're able to use him like we can, I think he can make a great impact, especially in a Dan Quinn-led defense. So another reason we need to draft Caleb Downs is our current free safety is Quan Martin. Now, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, how do I feel about Quan Martin? I would have said he's a steal that we found, and I'm so glad that we kept him from the Rivera era because he's one of the guys that we actually hit on. I don't feel that way anymore. If you watch this past year, he was abused, especially against tight ends within that red zone, whether it was Dallas Goedert, Theo Johnson, Jake Ferguson, so many guys, even Josh Oliver, who scored 2 touchdowns against us. When has Josh Oliver ever scored 2 touchdowns in a game? Besides Quan Martin. It probably hasn't happened. Actually, I know it hasn't happened. And also what we like to do in our defense with Dan Quinn is we like our strong safeties to be a little bit bigger so we're able to push them down to the line of scrimmage so they can help out in the run game. And with Quan Martin, what we do is we play one high. And a lot of times we like to do a cover 3 look. And what that means is you have 2 corners to the side and you have 1 safety high. And they each have a third of the defense. And what the problem is with that, if you're not rangy enough, you struggle at safety because that whole middle, that is your third. And that's not easy to do. And Quan Martin has struggled, especially when it comes to the cover 3 weakness, which is the seams right across those hashes. And that's where a lot of those tight ends do the most damage. Where Quan Martin got beat pretty badly all season long. He struggled to make those rangy plays, and quarterbacks were able to look him off one way and pass the other way because they were able to fool him when he's in that one high cover 3 look. And Caleb Downs has shown so many times that when Alabama has the confidence to go one high with him, he has that range to make that play. He has that Buda Baker speed and instincts to make that quarterback second guess and make a great play for the defense. And Quan Martin also struggled a lot against the run. And he's not the biggest guy. And when you're in our division going against Saquon Barkley, Cam Scatterbo, Javonte Williams, you got to be able to know how to tackle. And not just tackle, but you got to be able to put some grease into that, man, and really put your shoulder into it. And that's what Caleb Downs brings. And I really think he can make a great impact in this defense. So tell me what you think. Is Caleb Downs the correct pick at number 7? Or should we go offense and help out Jaden with the receiver? Let me know. And I'll see you next time. Take care.